Let's look into this a little deeper. We run this with 3 separate tabs. All right. So we have the action plan and we've got the budget. So I'm going to go to the budget tab now. We're going to pull up the budget. So when we're pulling up the budget, I need you to see how we put everything in. Once you put this into the computer generates a new field for you every single month. You only put the information in once and then follow it. So now we're putting in that John gets paid bi-weekly $950. Rebecca gets paid weekly $700 a week. All right. So we've got, and then we put in some expenses. We got the food and dining in here. We got the phone, we got the utilities, and then we got the rest of the budget. But here's where we break this thing down. The monthly income averages about $5,091.66. Remember, we had the young lady do this on her own. Well, once you plug it in, the program does it for you. $5,000. And this is their average spending for the month, including the mortgage. $3,760.39. That's the average spending. Sometimes you spend more, sometimes you spend less. But something you need to, or let us do it, figure out after the spending is done on the things that you need to spend, how much money is left. The average discretionary for John and Rebecca Jones is $1,331.28. So for them to overspend, do you realize that they would have to overspend by $1,331.28 to be considered overspending? Well, that's a lot of money, especially if you put into your budget how much money you want to spend on you every month just to have some fun. Put that into your budget, and they have done that, and they still have $1,300 left over. So as they're spending their money each month, they just go to that line and subtract from it. Let me give you an idea of how that works. Let's go back to the action plan, and I'll show you. We're going to go to their budget line. They're spending a little bit of money on themselves. So if they did that, they would go down to unitemized budget. They would click on itemized budget. They would click on execute, and they would put in, we went to dinner. Okay. Out of the $1,300 we have allotted for that, we spent $125. All right. And so once we tell the program that, we can then categorize it and say, this went to food and dining. And then we can slide over again and say, it went to restaurants. Boom. And then it categorizes it in so that not only can you track your spending, but you can itemize it and then call it up later and says, this is how much we're spending on food and dining every single month. All right. And if they need to adjust that, this is, well, we're still doing okay, but do we really need to spend all of that once they actually look at it? Or they may say, listen, we're doing quite well here. We can afford to go out a little bit more, but it's being tracked. So now once we do that, we just execute that. We execute it, and then the program will then keep track of our monthly spending for us. How would you like something like that? So once we get that going, then the program will then tell us how much is left over, and then we could put that money in savings. All right. So let's go ahead and, all right, reload it. There we go. And then we'll go down, take a look at unitemized budget, and it tells us that we have $1,175 left to spend in that budget. Okay. And that's for the month of October. That's how that works. So let's go back in. I'm going to reset everything because these are templates that I have in here. And if anybody wants to ask any specific questions about what if you have more than one mortgage, I have a setup where we could do over 10 mortgages. Now, let's take a look at their accounts. What are John and Rebecca Jones trying to accomplish here? So once we get the accounts up and running, we can then see how everything is working for them. They have in their checking account about $500 right now. They have in their savings account $5,138.89. Out of that money, I need to show you something. We're going to click edit here. Out of that money, they're saying we want $4,700 to always be in savings for emergencies. So their emergency fund is $4,700. That's what they've chosen. All right. So they're not using that money to pay off debt. They're keeping that money on hand. Now we're going to take a look at they have a $25,000 auto loan at 4%. They have $2,000 on their Visa at 21%. They have a mortgage of $200,000 at 6%. Do you realize a $200,000 mortgage at 6%, the bank wants $230,000 just in interest alone? Boom. That's a lot of money in interest. That's their interest consumption. So John and Rebecca Jones never paid attention to how much interest they're paying every month. But the average family pays about 35 to 39% of their take-home pay on interest. So here's what we've got. Now, when we add all of that up, John and Rebecca Jones owe $227,000 right now. Okay? Now, here is where the program does stuff that no other program does in the world. Nobody else does this. In fact, let me tell you something. This is the most powerful debt reduction, wealth building, money management program on the planet. If someone becomes one of our clients and they find a better program, we will buy this one back. You will never feel as if you got taken, that you jumped the gun, you didn't do your research, and you hate that feeling when you buy something and then you found out that you could have had something better for the same money or even less money. If you find a better program than this, we will buy ours back from you. In fact, we will contact that company and see how we can partner with them because they have a better program. I never want to be associated with something that is not the very best. Right now, this is the very best on the planet. Nobody beats us. Nobody. And that's a bold claim. Because I can make that. And if it weren't true, here's something that I want you to try. There are a lot of good companies out there in the world, but when you Google them, when you do a search, there are people who, they're not satisfied or they're saying a lot of bad things about the company. If you do a search on us right now, search the P.I.L.L method. Number one, you'll find out by searching the P.I.L.L method. We're so popular, birth control is on page 2. That's number one. Here's the second thing. You will not find one negative word about the P.I.L.L method from somebody who is an actual client. Now, you'll see some haters out there, but they're not clients and they never were. But you'll never find a negative word about the P.I.L.L method from someone who has become a client, got dissatisfied with their results, and now they're complaining. Not one negative word. There are not a lot of programs or companies that can say that after 16 years.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.